All right, it is 6:31, so we're going to go ahead and begin. We value your time. Thank you for joining us tonight. My name is Tara Sparks. I'm the Chief Academic Officer for the district. And as you may be aware, we actually have two of these sessions this evening in our Lindbergh Parent Speaker Series. We have this session on Canvas Next Steps to go a little bit deeper from our previous session on what every parent needs to know about Canvas. And then at 7 o'clock on another link, we are going to be hearing what every parent needs to know about iPads. So if you're a parent who chooses to stay on this the entire time and we go over the 30 minutes, that is perfectly okay. You can be like me and hop out at the end of this to go to the next session, and that is also perfectly fine. We are going to be recording this session and then sharing out the information in an upcoming principal e-note. So for those of you who want to reference these slides later, that will be available for you. But at this time, it is my pleasure to introduce to you Colin Davitt, our Blended Learning Coordinator, to talk about the next steps in Canvas.
Well, good evening, everybody. It may look like I'm looking off camera a little bit because I have multiple screens set up here. And so I'm going to be looking at the presentation screen and sometimes looking back at you. Down at the bottom of our screen, we do have a Q&A. And so that's where, as I'm talking tonight, feel free to ask some questions. Some of what we're going to be showing tonight is based upon the questions that you asked last time. Every once in a while, though, my computer may cut out a little bit. So feel free to, in the Q&A, just say, hey, Colin, we didn't hear you what you said a minute ago. You cut out a little bit or something along those lines. So like Dr. Sparks said, I'm Colin Davitt, the Blended Learning Coordinator. And down below my title, you see a bit.ly link, and that's going to lead back to our Canvas page that we have to support Canvas for parents on our district website. On there will be, we just finished it today, a Q&A page. So it has some questions and some links to, some of them are going to be text answers, but some of them will be short videos to kind of show you how some of this stuff works. Okay, so tonight though, I'm going to be talking to you as a parent. So look, if you look on the right side of my screen at the top, that's Aiden. He's in 9th grade at Lindbergh High School. And at the bottom there's Sam. She's at 11th grade at Lindbergh High School as well. And I like to sometimes call myself the mayor of Canvas. So I feel like I'm going to be talking kind of on those two sides, a little bit of the mayor of Canvas, but really primarily a ton on how I manage this as a parent. So I feel like a little bit of kind of what's going on is, look on the left-hand side. Like I said, I was the mayor of Canvas. I feel like 98% of my life, I breathe, eat, sleep, weekends, nights, holidays is all Canvas. It's all consuming right now. But this probably like your life too, like all mixed up, all the different colors. Like the reds might be school, the blue might be like family time. And how do I take all of this kind of confusion and things that are happening and make it more like the right side of the picture? How do I put everything in a row so then at night I can pull up Canvas on my phone as a parent or on the web and be able to make sense of it very quickly and get down to what's really important and have those fun, rich conversations that we all have with our kids around academic topics. So tonight we're going to be talking about, I'm going to be addressing 5 big things. One of them is going to be the dashboard, and then notifications. And then I think my all-time favorite, which I should have probably put it first, is the calendar. Then we're going to be talking a little bit about the inbox, and then looking at the parent app. So I'm going to be jumping back and forth between this presentation, the actual live web where you can see all of my kids' real stuff, and then kind of showing you what it looks like in the parent app. So a reminder here, so I can go to Chrome. There we go. So the very first thing what I want to show you, and this is one of our big questions that we got, is when I log into my child's accounts, I'm going to see there's sometimes a lot of classes here. So I just have 2 children at the high school, but if I had more than that, there would be a whole bunch more courses here. So how to make really quick sense of this? So this is what I do, and I've undid this all for you tonight. But if you look at the very first course here, this is an algebra or math course. and here's the name of it. This is the current year, and then it's observing Colin Davitt. So it takes a lot of like reading to kind of get down to what is this course about. If I look in the upper right-hand corner, though, the ice cream cone, just think 3 dots, ice cream cone, because 1 dot is just a sad ice cream cone. 3 scoops is a good ice cream cone. So if I click this, this is where I can go in and create a nickname. So I'm just going to call it Math A. So I could also just call it Aiden if I wanted to, or A for short. And I'm going to make all of Aiden's courses red. And then I click apply. You'll see what it subtly did is change this to a kind of a red hue. Instead of this, I think, kind of cryptic name, it just changed it to Math Aiden. So I'm going to do the same thing over here. I'm going to do Aiden. Let's see, English Aiden. And then I'm going to also choose red. You could probably pick up on the pattern here. So now this is going to be English Sam. And then let's make everything for Sammy. How about green? Now check this out. So pretty soon what I'm going to have is all Aiden's courses will be red with a short nickname. All Sammy's will be green. I'm going to do like 2 more just so you, because the next big thing, it's going to make a big difference here. So history, Sam, I think, green, history, Aiden, red. Just do 1 more here for Sammy, math, Sam, green. We'll just do 2 more real quick. Fix that later. And okay. And Sammy was red. So now what I've done is I can go and do the rest later, but as you can see here, I've got all these nicknames and they're color coded. So at a glance, I can see whose courses are whose. The other thing though is I've got Aiden up here and Sammy. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click and just drag. I'm going to put Aiden up top. Oops, I chose the wrong color. And Sam in the bottom. As you see here, if I click, I can very quickly just change the color. If I delete the nickname, it's going to go back to what it originally was. Let's click apply. So very quick at a glance, red Aiden, green Sam. Let's look on the far, just make sure I'm on my right track. Okay, so this only changed it for me, but for my wife, she doesn't see any of this change. It's just going to be for me. The kids don't see it either. But what does it look like on the app? And so I've got a sample here of, I just took a screenshot today. So it looks a little, obviously a little different on the app. At the very top, this is where I can switch between both kids. And then when I switch kids, I can choose the different, like if I want to observe Aiden or Sam. And then when it comes up in the app, you're going to notice that, let's say today, I think is the 15th, and there's 3 dots. That means there's 3 things that are due on that particular day. Same thing kind of Aiden over here. I've got 2 dots, and here are the 2 things that he has going on today. When I'm in the student, if you look at the very bottom, this is where I can go from, I could click courses and see all Sam's courses, her calendar, or her alerts, and we'll get to that in a little bit. So in a nutshell, really, this is a super easy way that I'm going to be able to go into her courses, go into their courses, and be able to see kind of what's happening at a glance. So the mobile dashboard here and the dashboard on the web look a little different, but you can quickly access things pretty smoothly. The next thing I want to talk about is notifications. So sometimes I like to say I'm kind of sometimes a passive parent. And so I want things to come to me, but I only want to see what I want to see. So if in the web, if I look in the upper left-hand corner, I click account and I can go to notifications. Now, if we look across the top, here's kind of almost like a map legend. So I want to be either notified right away, daily, weekly, or nothing at all. I would recommend too is selecting this so you have your names associated with the alerts. So if we look over here, I've got my due dates. I just want them once a day because especially if I have like 14 classes and they're all putting due dates, I don't necessarily in a day, I don't necessarily want 14 emails of individual things. So I just want a once a day summary on that. But let's say that I don't really know what announcement means. So if I'm going down, I can hover over it and it's just going to show me as I go what each one means. And that's where you can adjust this as you see fit. And as you can see, there's a bunch of announcements here. I would probably leave these alone and then adjust them as you need because it comes with a default set of notifications that push out to your email. But the one thing that I really absolutely 100% love is in the app, you get different type of notifications. So again, on my phone or your phone, look in the upper left-hand side, you're gonna see a hamburger, like 3 lines. If you click that, you get a pop out. I chose manage students. And then it gives me this is just a sample student, but I clicked on Aiden again. But take a look at the far right side here, all the notifications that I can set up. So anytime any course that he is in, his grade drops below 70%, it's going to alert me. Anytime he gets a grade above a 98, I just randomly picked, I don't know why I picked 98. This one here that I absolutely love, especially because he's learning at home, I want to be alerted anytime he's missing an assignment. These are the same notifications that I set up for Sam, so it's not anything different really for Aiden. Anytime any kind of assignment drops below a certain threshold, I didn't put a grade for anytime he gets exceeds kind of a certain grade. These two, though, I have left on anytime a course announcement. This is kind of like Remind 101. So think every Sunday when the teachers send an alert out, um, it is in my phone on my in my email, but sometimes I do like an alert on my mobile device because that's probably what I have most often, especially late on a 5 o'clock on a Sunday. And then this is an institution announcement. Generally, these are off, but I turned it on. That would be like the mayor of Canvas sending something out to everybody in Limburg to say, here's some sort of announcement, like here's a new feature in Canvas that I wanted everybody to know about. So this is something that generally most people turn off, but I just turned it on because I wanted to see it. So these kind of notifications in the app, I feel you can get a lot deeper into it. And this is going to be something that you're going to be able to react to very quickly. And this is where potentially I could set up Aiden's and Sammy's a little differently, but I set them up the same at first, and I'll probably adjust them as the year goes on. I'm going to go back to the course. Okay, I said earlier that by far my favorite is the calendar. So we're going to look on the far left-hand side on the calendar in the green navigation. So at first, it's going to seem kind of messy and overwhelming until you start to make some sense of it. Remember the very first thing that I did was rename the courses and color coded them. Now, if we look on the far right, this is kind of where the payoff is, because I could see Math, Aiden, and Sam all the way down here. Now, I'm seeing my picture stutter a little bit. Am I still sounding okay? Could somebody in the Q&A just say, am I sounding okay still? Sometimes this helps a little bit where I turn the video off. How does it sound now? Okay, so if you guys would please. Okay, so if I do get worse, just let me know. And okay, good. Okay, so on the far right, I'm going to notice my colors here are going to be showing up to associate it with the what is on the calendar itself. So the other thing is, if I really want to drill down and I just want to see, say, Aiden's things, I can deselect Sammy's courses and they're going to disappear off the calendar. So I'm going to scroll down a little bit and just take a look at today. So there's a couple of things though that you just kind of have to know that over here. I'm going to go into the forensic lab. I just clicked it one time and this is what's going to pop up. This is going to give me a little bit of information that I can talk to Aiden about. I can also click this. I'm just going to open a new tab briefly. But there are going to be some things you're going to see from time to time that say this, like authorize. It's because I mean, I know I do, but I don't have let's just pretend I don't have a Lindbergh Schools email, so I'm not going to see some of the Google Docs. That's where I do recommend from time to time logging in with your, having the student app and using your child's credentials to log in so you could actually go to the forensic lab and take a look at it. But this is also what I sometimes call the dinner time conversation, where in the calendar, I will just ask Aiden to be like, hey, you had a forensics lab. Tell me a little bit more about that. Like, what does that mean? Um, I'm going to cancel out of that for a second. And then we can go on the same thing over here and take a look at the reading quiz. Kind of like we took a look at before, the announce or the notifications along the top. There's like a legend almost of like what each symbol means. If we see a piece of paper with a pen, that just means some kind of assignment. The rocket ship is a quiz. And that looks like all we have right now on this. So over on the upper right side, I can filter it just by week. So I can just go week to week and I can scroll through and we can see what's going on. There's a lot of banned things here. If I scroll back up to the top, we were on month. But one thing some of our kids really like is the agenda view. So what this does is, I feel like makes it a lot more manageable. So today, these are the only things that are currently due. And so tomorrow I'm going to be kind of alert that I do have some sort of skills test here in algebra. And I think this is, if I just click one time, it's going to show me it's also algebra for Aiden. And it's assignment. Every once in a while, you will see that it's locked until tomorrow when class starts. The other thing though is, and we're working on this, if we look in the lower right, we're going to see something here that says undated. So I'm going to click on month briefly. So anytime as a teacher, I have something with a date on it, it will be assigned, put into the grade book, and put on the calendar. If I do not put a date on it, it will show up over here and it's kind of hidden and it's undated. I'm going to click that so you can see what's below here. For example, in one of Aiden's literacy courses, there is something that is undated, but it's a Google Doc that the teacher shared with them. So they can continuously add to this Google Doc over time. It has been assigned, but it is not, there's not a current due date on it. And so that's kind of something like, here we go, like final drafts and revisions sometimes. That is something that sometimes they will not have a due date on.
Colin, you're starting to cut out a bit again.
Okay, hold on a moment. Let me see how I could solve this. Okay. Let me just wait half a second. Is that any better?
Yes. Sorry, I had to unmute myself.
Okay. Okay, no worries. Thank you so much. So I'm going to go back to my over here just briefly. So there's one more notification that I want to show you is in, so before I kind of showed you the dashboard and here's Aiden in his calendar, but if I click the forensics lab, let's pretend this is something out like in 2 weeks or so. And I clicked in the forensics lab on my mobile app. This is where I can say, I want a notification and I can toggle this on and I can set a date and time to be notified about this specific assignment. So this is something that let's say there was like Sammy has this really big literacy paper or something like that. She was mentioning something, and so this is where I can go and set an alert to alert myself to continuously remind her, or say, hey, let's take a look at that, which kind of goes to messaging the teacher. Like I see a couple of requests and questions that are coming in about that might be teacher specific. So let me show you one thing that is super handy here in Canvas. And again, we're going to go in the far left navigation and let's click inbox. So think of this as kind of like Gmail, or a way to communicate between yourself and the teacher very quickly. So when I go to inbox, I can go in the upper right-hand corner, compose a new message. And again, I'm looking at it from a parent side. I can choose the course. Usually I just go under favorited courses. And I want to say math. And then I can choose the teacher. And I'm going to go in there and choose my son. And then this is like, let's say I'm messaging the teacher about the chapter 45 test. So I can send a message directly right here. I could attach something or attach a little audio or video clip if I wanted to, and then send it straight away. And it pops up directly in the teacher's Canvas course. In addition to that, it will also pop up in Aiden's Canvas course. That's kind of cool. But let me show you something that absolutely blew my mind when I saw this, and it's on the mobile app. So again, the mobile app is going to let you go kind of much deeper into some of these notifications. So let's go back to the forensics lab that we're kind of looking at throughout. So I've got that pulled up. Maybe I set my notification, but at the very bottom of the mobile app, you're going to see a little speech bubble. So if I go ahead and click that, it's going to pull up an automatic message. This only allows me to send to the teacher. I cannot send it to Aiden as well for some reason, but that's just the way the app is set up currently right now. It automatically fills in the subject line, and this is where I can type in whatever message I wanted. And so the same thing over here, but this is just on the just on his math course itself. And so that's where I'm just clicking the speech bubble, and it's just pulling up and asking me to, it's basically just regards of grades. So I'm not in an assignment or a quiz or anything else like that. I'm just in the class itself. I could always erase this and redo it. But the one thing I do like is that as teachers start seeing more of regarding and these kind of messages come in, it's going to help focus them very quickly on um, the student, it's an assignment, it's the forensic lab. And so it really helps to kind of narrow the focus for not only the teacher, but also for myself as the parent who's emailing these things in. Okay, so I'm going to go back to my dashboard here. So I'm going to pause this for a second, and I'm going to take a look at we've had a couple questions come in. Okay, so one of the questions is kind of like if I'm at home and I'm wondering, like, did Sammy or did Aiden turn some of these assignments in? Like, how do I know? Because sometimes I'm not seeing these things crossed off on the calendar. And sometimes I can log into the student account and I can see them crossed off, but sometimes, and I'm not 100% sure why, they're not always crossed off here on the parent side. And so kind of the deep dive that I go into when I'm asking about this, like for example, this forensics lab, when I pick the kids up from band tonight, I'm going to ask Aiden about this. And this is where I'm going to have to go and sometimes sit down side by side, have him pull up his app and me take a look at it from
Colin, can you
here
do
to
your
say, okay,
magic again where you fix your audio? You're cutting out
okay,
again slightly.
oh, okay, hold on 1 second. Okay, how does that sound?
That's better. And then I'm gonna cut out in about 2 minutes and head to the other
Okay,
webinar.
perfect. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Um, so the so this is where I'm going to have to pull up Aiden's account and my account kind of side by side to be able to go into a deeper dive into some of the assignments that I'm concerned about. This is where I would also recommend, if you would like, you could have on your phone the student app and the parent app basically side by side. But on the student app, I'm going to have to log in with their account to be able to see everything full, to see everything. So I could check the forensic lab in the student app and then go to the parent app and take a look at what that says. One thing we are working on is making sure that everything has a due date, because I know that's a question that I've had a number of times from parents and students alike, is just if there's not a due date, it does not show up in the calendar. And the calendar for a lot of kids drives their day to day, but it's also something we're helping them, again, speaking as a parent, like future proof. Like I know if there's a lot of optional things coming up here in band that are due this Thursday, what are some things that I can do or help my kids know to do for Monday and Tuesday and Wednesday to get ready for whatever their parts are here for band. So notifications are only going to come, like, will there be a notification for a missing assignment if there's no due date? And unfortunately not at this time. So that's again something we are working quite a bit, myself and the instructional coaches, helping teachers understand how critically important due dates are. Um, so Brian, I'm not sure your question. So Brian's asking a specific question here about managing students and courses, and I'm not really 100% sure. So here's one thing I could offer is if you email canvas@lindberghschools.ws, we could definitely take a look at why some things are being grayed out for you. Um, so Alma's parents, you're looking at the phone, and whenever you pull up the calendar, there's an error. So here's a good, I'm glad you asked this, because sometimes there are errors that happen on the mobile devices especially. What I recommend is taking a screenshot of the error and sending it to canvas@lindberghschools.ws. We can take a look at that. But here's one bit of advice that we give our students also is that when there is an app issue or something's not behaving correctly in the app, I would say 70, 80% of the time, if you delete the app, reinstall, which will mean you have to log back into it, it usually fixes the problem that that the app is creating. Like it looks like everything is working, just not the calendar feature. Okay, I'm going to try to turn on my camera again, but just please let me know if it starts cutting out again. Um, access can to my phone, but this is kind of through my Google. Oh, okay. So this is also happens from time to time. Let's say you're on your mobile device, everything works really well, it flows, but then you try to, with the same credentials, you try to log into your computer and it won't let you in. What happens is that on our when you're on your computer, sometimes it's a conflict between too many Google accounts. Like if you have a parent account and a student account on that computer logged in to Google at the same time, they will conflict with each other and not let you in. So my recommendation is you could use Firefox for like the parents logging into Canvas, and you can use Chrome for the students. But my gut says that the reason you can't pull it up on your computer is because there are too many Google accounts currently logged in. So just log out of those and try, and then I can see my videos going on again. Um, and that should fix your problem. Um, okay, so some of the things we have done, and I was going to pull this up on a course, is that some of the, like we put in for the pub, like all this summer, we did a lot of training with teachers. We've also created a learning module for students. But I think that as some of our newer kids, like let's say our sixth grade kids are, and it just says I am logged out. Oh my goodness. Okay, it keeps coming in and out. I'm not sure what's going on with the Wi-Fi here, but I appreciate you guys hanging on. So we have come up with some solutions for our kids to onboard into Canvas, something called like Passport to Canvas. So some teachers are using that to figure out how to get into Canvas, how to find certain elements within Canvas. For example, how do you message your teacher? This has been very handy for a number of students also, something called Studio, or really like on an iPad, just doing a screen recording and sharing it to the teacher. Um, so finding some things here to make it easier for them to navigate. The consistency from class to class, somebody's asking about that. Like if I go to class A and it looks like this, and class B, it might look a little different. We also, in Lindbergh, we've come up with two levels, in level 1 of Canvas and level 2, where everybody should be level 1 and everybody's working towards more of a level 2, where there will be some more consistency across from class to class, like how your modules are set up, how your Canvas pages are set up. So that way, if I went from English to Math to Social Studies, I would know where things are on the page based upon a common feel and theme. Oh, Amy has a very good recommendation, and I never even thought of that. So, you know how in class sometimes you have like optional assignments or somebody wants a little more enrichment. So having that is like a star, optional star, having that as a very bold tag. So that way, parents, like for me, my daughter would be doing all the optional things, and my son would be, what is the bare minimum I have to do? Which they're both appropriate ways to go through school. I was more like my son, is what is the bare minimum or below the minimum that I have to do. But the idea here is the optional tag. Then that way I wouldn't look at something and go, hey, Aiden, why don't you finish this? So that is definitely something we could recommend. That's a great idea. So every once in a while you might get a 403 error. Um, like sometimes when I go into on my mobile app, I can click on something that the kids um, I can, or on the computer, I can go into something and I'll click an assignment and I get a 403 error or an error that just, let's see if I can find one really quickly. Well, should be there. Let me see if I can find something. But anyway, really what it's doing is I'm going to find something here and it's not going to let me in, or it's going to give me an error. Something's on my phone, I can click it, or through an email, I'll get an email alert. I can click it and it will pull up and it's an error of some kind. It's because that error is 100% correct, but it is very frustrating because all it's saying is you do not have a an at Lindbergh Schools .ws email address, so you cannot access whatever's been shared with you or like emailed and alerted. And that's where I recommend, again, going back to like the student app, and being able to pull it up with the child's account in it so you can see in it. But this is also where I use those kind of, hey, I got an email today that said that you have a pretest, and it looks like the pretest was returned, but I can't see it. What do you see? Can you show me? Now, again, I'm painting a rosy picture, like my children are sitting down next to me going, oh, Pops, let me show you exactly what's going on here, because they're not always forthcoming, as I'm sure not because not all kids are forthcoming all the time. And so some of those errors um, are going to be there, but there are ways to work around it, such as logging in with your child's account or sitting down next to them and having them pull it up on their device. their school device, whatever device they have currently. So I definitely have some things that I can reach out to the teachers about here that you've asked some questions on. Um, as we go, what other questions might you have? Feel free to click on the Q&A and ask me some questions. As we wait, remember the email is canvas@lindberghschools.ws if you do have questions. And know that I'm doing my very best day and night, weekends, early mornings to answer them as fast as possible. But there are a lot of questions. So I'm doing my best. So we'll wait another minute or so. If nobody else has any questions, we can conclude this. Oh, there we go. And I definitely appreciate the getting some thank yous. I appreciate that quite a bit. And don't forget if there are questions or there are some frustrations, please let us know because we can fix them. Kind of like the optional idea. I think that was brilliant, and I should have thought of that. But I appreciate you telling me because that's definitely something I can pass on. I like to send out maybe about a weekly email to the teachers, and I like to put in some videos of just some how-tos and some tips and some ideas. And so that definitely will go in there. Oh, I was going to also mention the Copilot desk. Like some of your kids will know about, that's another place that they can go and ask questions about, say, device specific things like how do I get um, how do I get let's say my camera app on my iPad isn't working correctly, something along those lines. I can always email the Copilot help desk. Oh, somebody was asking for a paper copy of these steps. So what we're doing is on the, let me go back to it. Right here, I'll maximize that so it's easier to see. Okay, on this website here, we have a number of how-tos and videos and some Q&As that are coming. I always like to say for video, I like to go, like my own children did not necessarily know how to watch a video for academic reasons or for learning. Maybe for video games like Aiden for like Fortnite, but I like to always say, okay, play the video for a few seconds, stop the video, and then go try like step one of the process, and then play it again a little bit, and then try step two of the process. So I definitely would recommend taking a look at our page. But if there is something that you're needing and we don't provide on that page, just shoot us an email. So one of the questions is somebody missed a chunk of the webinar. So this is being recorded and will be sent out. Um, uh, Tony Dobson, who is sitting probably like 20 feet away from me, who is on the other webinar right now, he'll get a copy of this video and then he's going to do some editing and then put it out. But sometimes the editing will take a little bit of time. So it usually is a few days or a week or so before that gets published to, I believe, our YouTube channel. Um, so currently right now, the only way that you as a parent could submit a ticket to Copilot would be using your child's email address because currently right now it's just limited to the @Lindbergh Schools email to prevent any spam or anything else from getting in there. But let's say you do have a question that is time sensitive, I would definitely reach out to the teacher and say, you know, here's the problem that we're having and it's preventing us from, say, turning in an assignment, completing something, or something is not working correctly. That's where I definitely say if it is a time sensitive issue, that's where I would start with. And that's why I've had my own children um, to help with that as well, is to make sure that um, they're helping me understand the problem, which kind of goes back to if there is like, I'm getting sometimes emails from students to say, I can't turn in my assignment, it's not working, or it doesn't upload correctly. Just help your children with sending a maybe um, a more detailed request. Like for example, so what course is it? Exactly what assignment? If there's an error, taking a screenshot and sending that in, because most of the time we're able to answer those relatively quickly when we can see, almost like I tell my own children, you're going to the court of law and you need evidence. So at this time this happened, here's a screenshot, here's what it said, here's what the problem solving steps that I've tried. And we've been able to help a bunch of kids almost like every day. A number of these requests are coming in. So kids are getting better with asking, I think really is just better questions. So this is where looks like our questions have primarily stopped at this point. So this is where we're going to go ahead and end this webinar. Um, just as a reminder that this will give it like maybe a week or so, and then this will be up on our YouTube channel. But I'm pretty sure this will go out in the principal e-notes or emails. And so I definitely I definitely appreciate your time tonight and look for this webinar to come out. And if you guys have any questions, always feel free to reach out. Thanks. Have a good night.